It was a dark and stormy night. Perfect timing for Mariah Bookie's 6 spookiest reads of 2021. So I recently made a career change and I went from teaching to becoming a children's librarian. My favorite part about teaching was getting children excited about reading, and now that's my favorite part about being a librarian. It's awesome. But I have the most precious, adorable children come and ask me for recommendations for horror books. I do not do scary. It freaks me out. I can't handle it. But for the children, I decided I needed to do some research, and so I read a lot of spooky books this year. Here's my list of spooky books that were published in 2021, and I will rate them on a scale from spooky to spine-tingling. First up for spooky, we have Only If You Dare by Josh Allen. This is a collection of 13 spooky tales, and the illustrations in it are awesome. Very spooky. The first story I read, I was hooked because it was really spooky, and then in the middle, they didn't get as spooky, they were just kind of weird, and then the last story kept me up at night. And as I was reading this, each of the individual stories kind of felt like watching an episode of The Twilight Zone, so it was a really fun read, but not too scary. Next on the spooky scale is eerie, and for that, we've got Hide and Don't Seek by Annika Moroz Reese. And this is another one of those books that is a collection of different stories, but these were actually pretty creepy. And the thing I loved most about this book is that some of the stories were told in a different format. So there was like an entire story that was told in text message bubbles, or there was a screenplay and poems. So it was really fun to kind of mix it up with the different formats for that one. Next on the scale, we've got Frightening, and for that I picked The Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink. And this book is, I think, the only book on this list that actually takes place around Halloween time. And it's kind of a cookie-cutter Halloween story. It wasn't really anything new, but I did enjoy reading it. The thing I like most about this book is that the main character is Jewish, so we kind of get a different perspective on what it's like to be the only Jewish kid in school. Next up on the spooky scale is Chilling, and for that I picked The Ghost Girl by Ali Melanenko. This was the first book that I had ever read that actually made the hair on my head stand on end. It's pretty spooky, but the spooky moments in the book are spaced out, so like something scary happens and then you're just kind of like reading and waiting for something else to happen for a while. Not too spooky, but a little chilling. Next up is Haunting, and for that I picked What Lives in the Woods by Lindsay Curie. This book was really clever. I really enjoyed the storyline a lot, and it was kind of funny because the main character would experience something like hearing someone's like fingernails on the window, and then she would just realize it was the tree. Or she would see like a black-gray flash in the forest and then just realize that it was a raccoon. And so at first it seemed like there's a logical explanation for everything, but then something happens and there isn't an explanation, and that's when I was like, ooh, this is really, really scary. The only thing I didn't like about this book was that I figured out the ending before the characters did, like 50 pages before, so I was just kind of like, come on guys, like, let's go. But I really did like how it played out, and the whole storyline was really fun. And this is one that actually kept me up at night. I had a really hard time falling asleep if I read this book right before I was about to go to bed. And last but not least on the spooky scale is Spine Tingling, and for that I picked The Hidden Seek by Nate Karnosek. This is actually the first novel that they have written, and I was really impressed. It involves a shape-shifting witch, and the main characters are trying to hide from her forever, or if she catches them, she'll turn them into stone. There are some moments in this book that I think about, and it literally gives me chills. It was that freaky. It was a very unique book. It was not predictable at all. I did not see the end coming, and I really enjoyed it. All of the books on this list are juvenile fiction, so they're written for about an 8 to 12-year-old audience. I don't think I'm ready to jump into adult horror quite yet because I'm a scaredy pants. But let me know if you have any recommendations for me. I'd like to hear what you like to read around Halloween time. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to follow me on Goodreads and Instagram. I post updates there as well.